We touched on education. We touched on the Green New Deal, pretty much, your platforms and a couple of things. But the one hot topic that we had to talk about, and you said the last part, and shout out, and if Dr. Montgomery is still here, you can call back, Doc, 216-772-0500. Pretty much try to take over the show. You want to, I gotta be like, I'm gonna give you my rights or something. I don't know what happened. You know, some things happen for a reason, and you gotta have fun with it. But serious topic: Roe versus Wade, and the heartbeat bill that Governor DeWine signed after Roe versus Wade was overturned. What are your feelings on that?
So, let's start with that. Since Roe versus Wade has been what was passed, we have, and I mean we as a black woman. Mm-hmm. Men can't get abortions, so we're only talking about women in this situation. But although men have a say so, or should have a say so in abortions too, because it's not just one person taking, it's one person. It takes two to tango, is how they say, right? Mm-hmm. So again, me speaking as a woman and as a black woman mm-hmm. in this country, we've killed 60 million black children since Roe versus Wade was put into an act. 60 million. And so that's the whole entire population of 1960 of black people. So if you look up how many black people was in 1960, it was 60 million. We've killed the whole entire population of 1960 since then. Okay? It's the number one killer of black people, not heart attacks, not gun violence, not anything. It's abortion. It's the number one killer. So the way I look at it...
What does life begin at conception or 16 weeks? Hold on, wait, okay, I'm just asking.
Wait. So the way I look at it, when the heartbeat bill was passed, right? Mm-hmm. You could still get an abortion up to 7 weeks with the heartbeat bill. Okay? You can still get an abortion. People will ask about rape. Well, guess what? If you're raped, you're not going to sit around and wait 3 weeks to figure out if you're pregnant. You can take the morning after pill. That's available. If you're not raped, and we're just talking about people being irresponsible, we live in a time, in a medical time, where you, as a woman, you do not have to get pregnant. Okay? From IUDs to birth control to men getting vasectomies to men birth control. Nobody has to get pregnant if they don't want to.
Hey, leave that vasectomy stuff to the birds. Huh?
I'm just saying, no, listen, I'm just naming all the stuff. If you can't take birth control, you can use IUDs, you can use cups, you can use, spermicides, you can use condoms, which I think because of the fact that HIV and other STDs are so high, people should use condoms anyway. Okay? Mm-hmm. So, with that being said, I fully support the heartbeat bill. But I don't know if you know, but just only 2 days ago, July 14th? So 3 days ago, the House submitted a bill where it is basically making it so you can't get an abortion at all because life happens at conception. So it is the personhood bill, and it's Bill 704. It was just introduced to the House July 11th, and that makes it so that basically you wouldn't be able to get an abortion at all. Now, under the Constitution of Ohio and the Constitution of the United States, we're supposed to be protecting life, okay, and preserving life. And life happens at conception. And listen, don't listen to me. Listen to the people who do this for a living, which are the in vitro doctors. Their job is to get women pregnant for a living, right? So in 2016, the in vitro doctors figured out that what eggs are fertilized and what eggs are not fertilized by a flash of zinc light. So within 3 days of fertilization of that egg, there's a flash of light. You know what the Bible said. I'm not even going to go religious on you. I'm just going scientific.
What about a woman's right to choose? And what about the 10-year-old?
The woman's right to choose was in the beginning for her not to get pregnant. We're not talking about rape. We're not talking about incest. We're talking about everybody else who just decided to lay down and got pregnant. Okay? Her right to choose and take responsibility of her body was before that time, before she got pregnant. If she didn't want to be pregnant, okay, she's having sex with somebody. And then we're just saying, like, it's just women. Men are involved in this process too. Okay? If a man does not want to get a woman pregnant, there are things he can do to make sure she's not going to the abortion clinic later on too.
All right. So biggest argument, and I know that there's the biggest argument going back and forth, and I know between Democrats and Republicans and some independents. You know, if you are like protecting the rights of the unborn, but after you're born, you know, there's limited health care for these small children. You know, the gun violence. You know, we had the school shooting in Robb Elementary School in Uverdale, Texas. You know, how do you defend those retractions, saying, well, even if the child is born, they don't get no protection outside the womb, but they get all the protection inside the womb. How do you?
So, I mean, as far as Ohio goes, if you're low income, you get medical care. So I don't know where you're getting that they're not going to get care from. There's plenty of programs that are out there.
Not the best sometimes, you know.
What do you mean not the best? But you can take your Medicaid to Cleveland Clinic. You can take it to the University Healthcare. You can take it to Metro. I don't know how good those hospitals are, but those are the hospitals we have right here in Cleveland. And I'm sorry, if they're flying czars and sheiks and Arab princes and kings over here to go to Cleveland Clinic, I would assume that they're a very good hospital.
Okay, so the thing about it is, like, you know, the focus of those things, I understand that with those things that happen. But you have people who say that it's personal privacy. You know, Dr. Montgomery said, what do you think about 704? I don't know if you understand what 704 is. What do you think about 704?
Yeah, House Bill 704 is what I was just talking about, is that the life happens at conception. Mm-hmm. And again, I go back to not, because a lot of people might not be religious, but what you can go off of in this situation is science. And again, the in vitro doctors prove through science and through how they actually better do their own jobs that life happens at a flash of light in the egg within 3 days of it being, you know, injected with the sperm.
All right. So what do you tell a woman who's been abused by her husband, who already has 4 children, trying to get out of a violent relationship, who's pregnant with him now? What do you tell that woman?
Well, another bill, that's House Bill 3, which would be the Aisha's Law, is on the books right now. It hasn't been passed, where women like that who are in situations with their husbands where they can't get out can now get help from the state, help from the county, and help from getting away from situations like that. I don't know if you know about Aisha Frazier.
Yeah, I did a show on Aisha Frazier when she was murdered a couple of years ago.
Well, I talked about it before Aisha was murdered. Mm-hmm. I talked about it a year before she was murdered on the steps with Zachary in front of the City Hall, saying that at the end of the day, people like this, they don't change. And when people like this don't change, we need to have things in place to make sure that they don't have to deal and keep dealing with this people like that.
I think I don't even want to mention his name. I think I dogged him so many times on there that I think somebody tried to pull me off when I found out about that. But I do understand where you're coming from. Now, what about, you know, women who make decisions about because the child might not make it, or a child might be stillborn? What do you tell them?
So medical decisions are between you and your medical doctor. Okay, so if it's a woman and her life is being threatened, that's actually in Bill 704, mm-hmm. if I'm not mistaken, that If it's life threatening, that they could, consult with their medical doctor, and if the medical doctor says that yes, they need to take the baby, then that's what it is. That's a horrible and difficult, situation that somebody would have to be in. But again, we're talking about a very small percentage of people who are having abortions. You're not usually going into the abortion clinic for a topical pregnancy or a breech birth or something like that. Most people are just being irresponsible.
Okay. And leave it at that. So pretty much you agree with them overturning Roe versus Wade.
Correct.
Okay. Now, what about the situation up in Akron, Ohio with Jalen Walker, who was murdered by police, who got shot, who pretty much they fired 90 bullets and they hit him 60 times. So what is your opinion on that?
That's very unfortunate and very excessive. Okay. So one, I'm big on police, I'm not for defunding the police or anything like that, but what I am for is making sure that our police departments are following protocol, that they're not abusing the citizens, and that they need to be held responsible. Okay.
All right. So a couple of last questions. We're about to get out of here. I'm sure that, thank you very much for coming on. How do people can contribute or volunteer to help you become state rep, District 18?
Thank you. All right. So if you live in Maple, the east side of Cleveland, or Garfield Heights, the first thing you can do is pull a conservative ballot. That's a Republican ballot. And you can write my name in where it says state rep, because I'm a write-in. And that's the first thing that you can do, is always vote. If you can't vote for me, tell somebody who is in my district to go and vote. You can go and learn more about me, my platform, at my website, which is shalirataylor.com. Probably should spell my name.
Yeah, go ahead.
Shalira, Taylor, TAYLOR.com. So if you want to find me on social media, I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. It's ST, the number 4, OH. So ST4OH. So
ST for Ohio, correct?
Yes. Yep. ST for Ohio.
All right. Dr. Montgomery's last question. I'm sure he's had enough calling in. For people to vote for you, what have you done in your community?
So I've done a lot. I haven't done enough, but I've done a lot. So if we're going backwards, just last year I gave away 1,500 boxes of food within Slavic Village. A lot of people with just that went all the way out to Cleveland Heights and Euclid. I also worked with the Secretary of State during the pandemic to try to get absentee ballots to a lot of people in my community, because they didn't have access to a printer, and the state had denied them from sending out absentee ballot applications to all the registered voters. So we worked on getting absentee ballots to our community through the newspapers, like Call Post. And I was written up in the Cleveland Magazine about me delivering food all through the pandemic for the food bank. And what the Secretary of State and I did, we ended up getting over 15,000 absentee ballots into food boxes that went to our less fortunate community members that couldn't print or get absentee ballots. So that's some of the things. I've had community events on how to survive the pandemic for businesses. I got the U.S. State Department to come on and talk about all the things that were available at that point. I held programs, meetings in the community. Like I said, at Rains, a few times where we talked about expungement and getting your record clean, and brought some lawyers and attorneys in. And
Okay, that's what's up.
I probably could keep going.
Right, but
I hear music.
the music's coming in. This is Jay-Z and Nas with Black Republican. If nobody tells you that you love you today, I do. Thank you, Ms. Taylor, for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Watch out if you're a Republican. Write her in on the state thing. And peace, love, and hair grease. We out of here, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you.